What's up, guys? I'm sorry for the background noise. I just fell into a ravine, and this is Chaos Arts.